President Joe Biden has admitted to having classified documents at his residence, and the first thing that came to mind was this clip.
Well, well, well. How the turntables.
One of my favorite clips. But seriously though, we recall a few months ago when I did a video about the FBI's raid of Mar-a-Lago when they went into to Trump's residence because he was apparently holding some sort of classified information, and it was a big deal. We had redacted copies of the classified documents that were presented, and I did a video on that, and it was just a big deal, and it was all types of claims that criminal charges need to come, and now it is claimed that Joe Biden had classified documents from the Obama era in his possession at his residence that were not notified and that should have been returned to the archives, which I understand are now being returned to the archives through his lawyers. But we don't hear all the up in arms now that we heard several months ago. It's not such a big deal anymore for some reason. And whether you like Trump or not, it really should be irrelevant. We should want a system of justice and fairness for everybody, and that we don't have one section of the media and the government being one way and toward one person, and another section of the government media being a different way toward someone else, just because of political affiliation or because of personal animus or whatever the reason. That should cause concern for anyone, because we want a legal system that everyone can rely on to be treating fairly. Now, Joe Biden also indicated at the beginning of his administration that he would be transparent if he ever made a mistake, that he would own up to it. So it was interesting the other day that this exchange occurred at a press secretary briefing.
On the documents case, again, you've laid out that the president's lawyers and the special counsel are dealing with the legal side of this. You've now laid out that you have not had a conversation with the president about this. But this was reported Monday. It happened in November. Are you aware of any conversation in the West Wing among others, people other than the president, about disclosing this once it was discovered?
What I can say is I was asked by our colleague if we talked about the documents themselves. The president said he does not know what was in them, right? But also just wanted to clear that up. I understand you guys are going to have a lot of questions on this. I get that. I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions on process and specifics. And what I can tell you is that I'm not going to go beyond what the president laid out. I'm not going to go beyond what my White House counsel colleagues have stated. I would refer you to them for any other specifics or additional information. I want to be prudent here. I want to make sure that we do this in the appropriate way.
So this reporter is like, we know the documents were there as of at least November, and they're just now being reported. Have you talked to anybody in the administration at all that had knowledge about these documents and what occurred? And rather than being transparent about it, she basically says, I want to be prudent, which means, hey, I don't want to get fired, I don't want to get in trouble, I don't want to say more than what the lawyers have allowed me to say, which is quite the opposite of transparency. And that she is not going to, that she would refer them to other people for the conversation. So we're playing Ring Around the Rosie here. We're riding around on the merry-go-round. We're not going to have anybody that's going to answer because everybody's going to refer somebody to someone else. And the reporter doesn't like that. Listen to how he follows up.
We're going to ask them. That's our job.
I understand, and my job is to answer your questions. So here we go. Let's go.
We ask this is because on day 2 of this administration, when he swore all of you in, the president said, quote, I'm going to make mistakes. When I make them, I'll acknowledge them, and I'll tell you. And I'll need your help to help me correct them. So you're the one here.
Oh, snap. That reporter isn't having any of that. He says, you're the one who's here. The president promised transparency. He's not being transparent. You're not being transparent. This is why we're asking you these questions, basically whether you like it or not. And she doesn't care for that too much.
Yeah,
talking to us about this. That's why we're asking you. So let's just remember that.
We don't need to have this. We work very well together. We don't need to have this kind of confrontation. Ask your question, and I will answer them the best that I can.
Now that they're asking tough questions, all of a sudden it's a confrontation. So because he's being direct and straight with her, just like she's been with him, now it's a confrontation. instead of being transparent about it and say, hey, I'm just not going to answer any questions respectfully, that's it. Now all of a sudden it's a confrontation because you're asking me questions about the administration that we don't like so much. We work well together. Ed. But no, this is a confrontation because they're asking tough questions for maybe the first time in their career of the Biden administration. So the funniest thing about these videos, if you go all the way back to when this confrontation, as they call it, first started, is the sign language interpreter. Watch her facial expressions change throughout. Just go back and watch. It is so funny. But yeah, this is the typical hypocritical nonsense that we don't want to see out of our government. They have no problem, making a big deal out of it when it was Mar-a-Lago, but all of a sudden now it's a confrontation if you ask about it when it comes to Joe Biden. So it's good to see that at least one of the reporters there is asking tough questions about this and being willing to give it back to the administration a little bit. And where has there been a raid on the Biden residence? I don't think it has. I haven't heard of that. So again, it doesn't matter about whether it's Trump or it doesn't matter if this was DeSantis or if it was Ted Cruz or it was Mitt Romney or even if it was Bernie Sanders. If they were using for political gain a raid on these other people and then they don't do the exact same thing in this other circumstance, it's hypocrisy. And that's the problem with a lot of this government stuff. So let me know in the comments what you think. What do you think about this situation? Do you think that the press secretary is being fair to the media here? Do you think that the DOJ and FBI are treating everyone here situated in the same way? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video helpful or at least entertaining, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. Appreciate all of your help with my channel. And let me know in the comments what you'd like to hear about, and let me know what you think about this video. Take care.